よい。そなたはわらわの命に従ったまで、責めを負うべきはわらわであろう。
いいえ、弟がルミナス様の期待に応えられなかった結果です。どうかお気にやまれませんよ。
今は喪失を嘆いている時ではないな。邪竜は復活し、リムルという新たな魔王が誕生した。その対策を考えねばならぬ。
Slime Season 3, Episode number 2, and one of the viewers on the channel last week said something very profound in the comments, and it just really hit home with me. And I think that comment was so true for episode number 2 as well. The comment was, and the gist of it was, is how is it that we just watched 22, 23 minutes of just talking, and it was the best thing that we've gotten, or one of the best things we've gotten all season long? And I'm just like, that is just so true. Because once again, in episode number 2, all we got was dialogue. Like, you know, sure, there's scenes happening, there's little flashbacks and stuff, but for the most part, all we got this episode, including the last episode, was just dialogue, and it's so intriguing and so captivating and just so entertaining. And like, I'm waiting at bated breath, and I'm just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And here's the questions that I have, and here's all the things that I'm wondering about, and you know, this political intrigue, and the Forest of Jorah, and the Kingdom of Falmouth, and Diablo finally signing the contract, and this and this and this, and I'm like, ah, it's so good. So I just love this show for that, in being able to, you know how you guys ever hear that term of like, get you a boy or get you a girl who could do both, you know, whatever that thing is. And sometimes they show like, you know, a dude in a suit and then working on a car, or they show a girl in, you know, working outside on like a garden, and then, you know, in like a dress or something, you know, like, this feels like one of those animes, like, you know, get you an anime that can do both. It's like, it can, not only can it do the fantasy and the, you know, action adventure, you know, big scenes, it can also do political intrigue and really drive home, like, you know, relationships and vibes and twists and turns. It's just so cool for that. Now, here's a couple of things that I want to kind of put out. So this episode, we basically find out that Hinata she knows that she's been working for Luminous or whatever, right? I think Luminous is her name, the Demon Lord. Let me just make sure. Luminous Demon Lord. I just want to make sure I have the right name here. Yeah, okay. So she knows that she's been working for I was pretty sure it was Luminous, but she knows that she's been working for Luminous. Apparently, you know, she took on the Valentine brothers or whatever, you know, the two other vampire dudes. Apparently they're twinsies or whatever. She took them on and she won. And, you know, she vehemently lost to Luminous, and she learned that this kingdom, this, you know, church, this city, this western city that she's been working for, has been run by the vampires. But because of the way that they've been running it, she's like, you know, all in on protecting what they've established, because the people here are at like their maximum happiness, and, you know, everything's working out for them. They're a powerhouse. Like, you know, even though they're ran by vampires and they're not ran by God, you know, it's one of those things to where it's like, okay, she can make peace with knowing that her contributions are working in favor for the populace and stuff. Now, that's all fine and dandy. My problem becomes in, and later on she talks about the fight with Rimuru. But in that fight, you know, Hinata's talking to him of like, he's a piece of shit. Like, you know, he's a monster. And she never gives him time to talk and time to like really, like, she lets her emotions for 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐸, whatever her name was, who died, 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐶𝐶𝐻𝐶. You guys can correct me. I'm not gonna go look it up. You know, she lets her emotions take over, and she basically is like, yo, you're a piece of shit. You're a monster. Blah blah blah. And she's doing all of that with the she did all that fight with the know-how that's not true. Like, she really works for Demon Lord. She works for vampires. She knows that monsters aren't the end-all be-all evil, you know, out there. Like, she realizes all of this, but she did it and acted that way anyways. She didn't allow Rimuru to really, like, you know, be able to say his piece and like really, like, you know, make sense of things. And it was conveyed to us, and she went all in on being, you know, like, unapproachable and everything. Now, she did admit this episode that she did realize that she let him get away or whatever, like that, you know, it wasn't all over. And it's like, well, it's just a bunch of contradictions of like, okay, well, if you realize that, you know, why'd you go in that hard? And if you like, were you just trying to do a warning, or like, what was the like, that little piece, it kind of like shakes me up and kind of bothers me a little bit because of what she came in with, the knowledge, and then kind of like, oh, but she let him go. It's like, but did you? Like, I don't know. So that kind of pisses me off. That kind of like bothers me a little bit. But that's really my only like big nitpick and gripe for the Hinata stuff. Now, moving over to the Yuki stuff. Now, my problem with the Yuki stuff is like he's not this terrifying big bad. Like he's just kind of like this dude that isekai'd, and for whatever reason he has like something. He has like a screw loose up top. You know, he has the Chinibyo effect to where he plays this one role, but he actually wants to rule the world on this other world. You know, and I get that he's put together like he's put together like La Place, and he put together 𝐒𝐿maN, and obviously they're all kerfuffled right now about 𝐒𝐿maN dying, Footman and all of them, the other demon lord. I forget what the other demon lord's name was, but the dude who's now this beautiful blonde assistant elf lady. My big part with Yuki is not because of his dementedness or whatever. It's like he's depicted to us as like he's the main, like don't worry about all those other demon lords who are like in crazy powerful. Yuki's the one that we need to worry about. And it's like, okay, I get that, but like, could we have picked a better villain? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I don't know. So he's concocting some kind of plan for, to get back to, to get back at Rimuru. And Rimuru was already kind of put together that Yuki isn't what he seems. So, Rimuru was already kind of like, he's on the up and up. Like, so he's not going to kind of get one over on Rimuru in that sense, because Rimuru kind of already understands that Yuki's kind of a piece of crap. He's just kind of playing the long game to see on what ends up happening. But like Yuki always being depicted as the villain is kind of always like troubled me a bit. Outside of that, let me kind of like twist this all back in. Luminous talked a lot about Veldora this episode, and she depicts Veldora as like, like peak power, I guess you could say. Like she was like, Hinata got all up in arms about, do I go take on Veldora or whatever? And she's like, nah, dude, like you don't, like Veldora can like destroy the world type of deal. So I love that Veldora is truly feared by Luminous and like others of the demon lords. Like he's truly feared. And you have to think that fear, or maybe not fear, but the understanding of his power has to say something for Rimuru, because he's under the direct control. He's sworn allegiance to Rimuru. And then Rimuru also has Diablo, which is also, the peak, like the actual demons, like not demon lords, but the actual demons. Like Diablo's like peak, like he's the guy. And he's sworn allegiance to Rimuru. And Yuki also this episode kind of depicted on like, a piece of Rimuru's faction went to go destroy all of our 𝐒𝐿maN folks. And they're like, yo, what the hell? Like just a little piece of it? What about these other armies? Like, no. Like he threw a little piece at us and they destroyed them, And so I think that people are beginning to understand how much power the Forest of Jorah and Rimuru really has. So I think Lumina is going and saying, okay, we want to go partner with them, begrudgingly. I think Yuki saying that he doesn't, big mistake. He should probably figure that out. And then the Falma stuff, like there's so much intrigue with the Falma stuff, because we know Diablo's concocting this plan to put what's his name in. Damn. They have the false hero guy. Damn, I can't remember what his name is. Oh my god, oh my god. I can't remember what the hell is his name, but they have the guy, the one that they kind of put up as the false hero, as they want to make him the king of Falmouth. And it's like, okay, well, how is Diablo going to concoct that? Because right now, Ed Marius or whatever his name is, the actual king has abdicated the throne, and he's gonna put in for his brother Edward, I think his name was. And correct me if I'm wrong. I might have the names all jacked up, but you guys, he has his brother, and he wants to kind of put him up for the throne. And I don't know if he's doing that intentionally or not, but that's kind of the guy that they want to put up, to actually be, to be the king. next after he abdicates the throne, but actually it's going to end up being Diablo putting our boy, which I can't remember his name, and I don't want to spend time googling. I can't remember his name right now. I'll probably remember after I'm done recording. But he's actually going to end up being the actual. He's going to end up being the actual king of Falmouth once Diablos's plan actually goes through and gets all set up and everything. So I cannot wait to see on Diablo's plan actually coming into fray and seeing what's going to end up happening there. But really, really good stuff. Like, this episode is just absolutely fantastic. And again, harring back to the way I started the video, it's like we got an episode of just pure dialogue once again, and it was just so like mouth-watering. All right, I'm gonna leave there because I could probably talk more about this episode because there's a lot of other stuff that I skipped that I could probably take another 10 minutes for. I won't because a 20-minute video is a little 20-minute video for a 20-minute anime is a little daunting. So I'll stop here. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna see you guys next weekend. Sorry for this video being late. I had a work event for my job yesterday, so I wasn't able to cover this after work. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace, my friends.